Hello guys and welcome back to Workers and Resources. So in the last episode we already had this little town here finished and we started laying out the capital city of our republic. However, I made a mistake. And none of you pointed it out, and I wouldn't have expected you to. Because this doesn't really happen, or it doesn't happen to me all that often. But what I did is that I planned a bit too big. So basically what happened is that we laid out the construction for all of these buildings plus this up here, and we just said we're gonna let it build. And all in all, it took about 2 or 3 hours of the game running just to get where I am, and it's still not done. So why did this happen? The first reason is that we don't really have enough people to support this much construction. Second reason is that we don't really have enough logistics capacity to support this much construction at once. And third, which is probably the most important, you might see it right here, and right here, and right here, is that we have a vehicle that's waiting at a construction site with the material, and all they need is some workers. And the workers are being pulled somewhere else, and that's basically blocking the construction of that building, and it's also blocking that vehicle. So what can we do to fix this? So we can assign higher priority to these small roads, and I think the game actually assigns them lower priority for workers, and that's why this happens. This is a fairly common issue, actually. So that should free up those vehicles. At the same time, we probably want to prioritize building this pub, because we are going to have quite a lot of people who will want to move to the city. We already have most of the infrastructure pretty much ready to go. So all we really need is to start fulfilling the needs of all these people in here. And for starters, we're gonna have to figure out how to get all the goods they need in here. So let's set up the distribution office. And let's set up the distribution office to deliver to the grocery store. We're still waiting for the bar to be built, but we can already assign some collection buildings that will eventually allow us to do couple interesting things. Now let me double check where we are getting our local supplies. Looks like it's in here. All good then. That should start supplying the shops, and then we can start figuring out how to prioritize that bar as much as we can. And I think unfortunately we're just gonna have to either wait or make sure these roads get built first. And, well, this is almost done. Another road done. And I'm gonna suspend construction on this. And on the bus platform, we don't need it so far. I would like us to prioritize getting sort of this little block of buildings going, so we can start production down here. So that will involve finishing the grain storage, and quite possibly getting all the fields ready to go. And why did I make these roads asphalt? That's not what I wanted. That should be a dirt road right here. And that should eventually get us to a point where we're building more actively. And especially once we get workers to live here, they will start dispersing into these buildings around and help with construction. And for future construction, we will be building that construction office up here with all the infrastructure, so we can have all the resources much closer to where we're actually going to be building. And there we go, another road cleared. Another road cleared right there. So looking all good. Basically the big idea is to try to reduce the number of active constructions as much as we can. So we're actually going to suspend these as well. We're gonna prioritize these so they get done. And there's also this little piece of road up here that's also under construction. But you see how these little pieces of road, they just take up a vehicle and it waits there indefinitely. So that's something to really watch out for. And maybe we can look into getting more workers involved. Because I think our bottleneck right now is manpower. Or at least that's my impression at the moment. Because we do have some free vehicles at the moment. And I think we should also... That's not good. I want these fields to be signed here. So we have enough crops for the meat plant here. And this is one of the problems with the auto assign. It will sometimes assign fields that you want to assign somewhere else. And let's buy some farm equipment. This will do for now, but I am also going to set up a fertilizer import. And I might need another tanker truck just to help out with that. I mean, now that I'm kind of looking at it, I can probably allow people to move in. Because there is food, and that's kind of the core need. There is education, and there's a doctor and some entertainment and some sports facilities. So it's probably going to be okay. And we can start doing research when we're ready. And we'll definitely want to start with the geology faculty, I think. Or possibly... Actually, we can look at the research tree just to see what we can get out of everything. Yeah, so we will definitely need to start doing that, and eventually, and we'll actually need to do the geology faculty first, so we know where the resources are and we can start setting that up. But right now, obviously, we don't have any researchers around here, so let's allow citizens to move in, and hopefully they will find something to do and allow the town to survive for a little bit until we get more people going. And this is going to take some time. People are going to move in very, very slowly. But construction is going. And people are taking jobs. And looks like our liquor store is ready to go. So let's add it to the distribution office. So eventually we're going to be supplying this place from over here and from here. But for now, I'm just going to leave it with this small distribution office going all the way here. Construction is going. And now we're basically out of the woods, at least for now. Eventually, we will really need to look into getting more people here. Or right now, we have to look into getting more people here. And then we can start trying to make sure everything is operating as much as we can. I think I'm actually going to invite some experts just so we can staff all of these buildings here, and maybe some immigrants from the third world, just to get some extra workers in here. And it might take us a little bit to fill this building in, but those experts should get us started on pretty much all the essential services we need. So hopefully it works just fine. And our grain silo is ready to go. Interestingly enough, we have a lot of people unemployed in here, which is strange. Oh, because we have a lot of people without any education. And I'm guessing those are the people from the third world countries. Which is okay, we're gonna give them something to do here in a moment. Though generally I think they should be able to work just about anywhere. But I might be wrong. Oh, so we're actually giving them education. Even though they're adults, that's interesting. So I guess that's gonna help. It looks like the store is struggling with staffing a little bit, which is understandable at the moment. Other than that, it looks like construction is going pretty well. And that unemployment rate is very slowly going down as we're educating more workers. And I'm going to actually allow people to move into these buildings, and that should give us some room to grow. But I'm thinking I might actually invite some Soviet bloc immigrants. Let's do 50 for now. Obviously that costs us more money, but we do need more people to staff all of these buildings at the moment. And hopefully this farm here is going to start producing crops very soon, because we are going to need them very soon. So obviously bringing in immigrants has brought down our population's health, because they usually come in with like an average health value, and it slowly goes up as they are given access to stuff. So if you're seeing that in your game, that's not a problem. It's gonna fix itself in a couple minutes. In the meantime, we do have some road construction capacity available to us. So I think I am going to actually start building out these roads around these fields here. And I'm trying to fix up the angles here a little bit at least. Because what I will need to do is add more farms, or add more fields linked to that specific farm there. So I think we can fit one more small field here. And then we're going to build medium fields through here that will be assigned to that farm as well. And we will buy additional machinery to work on those fields as well, but not yet. Now, one thing that I noticed just now is that these fields here overlap. And it looks like both of them are being worked on, but they overlap. So that's an interesting bug with the game. But if you look at this third one, it's actually cut off. So I'm wondering what's the difference here besides maybe it's how far they intersect. That's why it does that. Because this one, you see, it's like not straight. So it's taking up more and more of the field. Could be that. And hopefully we're going to have a harvest soonish. Maybe. And we have to disable this factory so we're not wasting workers. But other than that, looks like things are going pretty well. People are getting education, which I actually didn't know that adults will go and get basic education if they have the opportunity. I thought it would just be kids. But apparently I was wrong, which is actually good. So we have like a couple people that are like 60 and 24. So it's like all ages. If they don't have education, they will go get it if possible, which is very cool. Though, one thing that would be an interesting addition to the game is that if they go and get education as kids, it takes shorter than if they go as adults. I think that would be a very interesting feature. But looks like our citizens' needs are resolving. What is being built up here? Oh, there's roads being built, okay. And fortunately, we now have a lot of free housing that people can move into. So we're not going to have to worry about that for a little bit. Anything interesting going on? There's some people who are starving. Which tells me that the shop is not being staffed enough. Or maybe supplied enough. Looks like there's plenty of food, so I'm not sure why the shop isn't supplied at the moment. But I think the big problem right now is that we don't have enough staff actually in the store as sellers. And that's why people can't get food. That's what I think that's what I think is the issue. And we had the same issue with the village initially. And we might need to build a second clinic at some point. But not yet. And it looks like, oh right, I haven't disabled construction on all of these. You know, we don't actually need the construction office yet. I think first I will focus on getting these two warehouses going. So I can start looking into transporting food all over the place. And the headquarters of the party. So we can start doing social research. Because now we're doing technical research, which is going to reveal resources for us, but we also need some social research that will allow us to build better distribution offices, which we are going to need. And it looks like our citizens are slowly getting everything they need. There's a bit of a problem with people not being able to visit a hospital. So I think I'll have to spend some money on more experts. And still pretty high unemployment. But I'm guessing that's just the people we invited in that just didn't have any education. And soon some of our fields are going to be ready for harvest. So we'll be able to start making our own food and alcohol. And that's gonna, again, lower our expenses and let us save some money. Because right now we're still very far in the red, even though we're... Let's see if we're actually exporting any meat. We're not, because we don't have any crops. Which is kind of sad, but that's just how it is. I think I will actually assign these small fields to this farm here, just so it gets more crops sent that way. And at some point maybe I will want to, depending on what the crop situation in here is going to be, I might have a truck service going from this silo to this one just to bring in crops when needed, so that meat production keeps going. But let's see if we have any... Well, we have some supplies, so it's okay for now. And we still have some people who have not been able to see a doctor, which is a bit strange since we... Well, we do have a clinic, but no doctors working there. I'm sort of wondering if all those professionals, or I'm wondering if all those educated people who could be working as a doctor are working at the university instead. But it doesn't look like it. But at least our unemployment is going down. That's what's important. Because if they're unemployed, that's just a bunch of people who we have to feed, but they're not really doing anything for us. So as soon as they get education, they can start working wherever is needed. And looks like the harvest is underway. So we'll be able to get some workers going into our factories here in a moment. And eventually I will want to buy more machines for this farm, but I'm kind of waiting for all of these fields to come online. And I think there's going to be some new combines and tractors coming out in the next couple of years that I will be able to use, and they will have higher productivity. And let's put some workers in these factories. Let's do 20 and 20 for now. And we're slowly making something now. And I will be very slow at the start, but eventually it's going to ramp up as there are more workers available. And our headquarters are ready to go. So we're going to improve our logistics, since we don't really need anything else at the moment. And that will allow us to replace some of these distribution offices and just have more effective logistics structure. Let me actually limit this. So there's only food and alcohol in this warehouse. Now obviously opening these factories dilutes our worker pool, so we will definitely need more workers once again, just to fill out all the spots. So we are going to invite more experts, because apparently we need a lot more of those, and a whole bunch of other workers. And that should start... We're almost at 1,000 people living in the Republic, which is a big milestone. And we still have 150-ish spots open, so that's all good as well. I wonder why this is not being worked on. I guess low priority. And this one has no access to... Let's do it like so. And I'm gonna set our local supply to start pulling food and alcohol from local stores instead of importing it. And now I have to figure out who is importing stuff from... Yeah, so they're pulling it from the customs house. And for now, I will have them pull from here themselves, but eventually I would like to have like a distribution office that's gonna deliver all these all of these things to all the cities, or the 2 cities for now, and eventually maybe I'll have a train do it. Not sure yet. But production is going, so that's all good. And a lot of our construction is being done as well. We have local meat storage, and meat production is back up and running as well. And now you see the problem with having only one place for concrete and asphalt. There's going to be a line forming now, since we have a lot of vehicles that require this. So that's why we're going to have a second location up here. I kind of wish the game would allow for the closest available source to be used rather than a source set for the office. But that's just kind of what it is right now. And it looks like almost all our low education workers are almost ready to go. And it looks like everything else is being built as well. And once again, with the short path blocking a vehicle. And the problem is that the vehicle can't drop off asphalt. It has to be there while the asphalt is being used. That's why you see, like, here, gravel is just there, waiting for someone to pick up the work. And at the same time, any road construction needs to have workers brought in by bus. And let me actually set up my storage limits here. And there's not going to be any crops, no chemicals, no fabric. We're going to have alcohol, food, possibly clothes, and electronics. And there we go. So as you can see, it automatically fills up all the remaining space, just splits it evenly. And which is very useful because I can't do math. Looks like we have plenty of food. And research is going well. And unemployment is going down. And I'm not going to build the bus platform yet, because that's going to be needed for the construction office, which we don't need. Not yet, anyway. I think first I'm going to build this second half of the block. And then I'm going to start looking into these places. Because I don't have enough people to support rail construction right now anyway. And I would rather set up this production site down here first. And at least we can focus all our manpower on these roads so we can get the field started. Also somewhere up here I think I'm going to do a university campus. Or something along those lines. Because we are going to need doctors. Since that seems to be a bit of a problem right now. We're still good on living capacity. Oh, and also, don't forget to check this box. It's going to speed a lot of things up for you. So, a lot of the mechanisms, like rollers and pavers and excavators, can be loaded on a open truck. And that's going to speed up their delivery to the actual construction site, instead of them having to drive on their own, which is very slow. And almost done. And our unemployment is almost down to 0. Only 2 people left. And one of them, because they can't find a kindergarten, which is right next to their house. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on there. You can actually see that delivery happening right here. You see that the paver is on there, and it took away the excavator. Looks like all our construction within the city is almost done. Some asphalt work left, but that's okay. And unemployment is good to go. And happiness is going up. Some people still can't see a doctor, but I think that's more of a chance thing than anything else. Let's check these guys. Well, this guy might actually have it too far away. Nope, they can get there just fine. Just there are no doctors. which is unfortunate. Where are you going? Oh, he's going to be building this road. Excellent. And we're filling up that last building for some reason, even though we don't actually need to. There's room in this one still, but I think I can raise the worker count on these buildings. And we're starting to build up a nice supply. Let's have a look at our economy. So we are exporting a whole bunch of resources, mostly meat, but that's giving us a little bit of money to spend, or, well, we're still spending more than we're earning, but it's helping us balance out the budget a little bit, since we're still importing a lot of stuff, mostly construction material at this point. But we are making our own food and we're making our own meat. Next, what we will want to do is start making our own clothes, and we can actually sell those as well. But we are going to need a lot more workers to set that up. So I think I'm going to start setting up the blocks. And first of all, we're going to continue our grid with the roads. And then we might... And I'm going to actually fix my grid here. Or I'm going to try anyway. Because you see we're kind of going off to the side. So I'm going to try and fix it. Like so. And like so. And I actually could have had it snap the grid, but that's fine. It does help quite a lot though. And then we're going to have one right here. And then here. And if you didn't know, you have some interesting map tools down here. So you can do wireframe. If you click that again, it's going to snap to that grid that you're seeing. You can also show topography if you think that would be helpful for you. I don't use this overlay that much. Only if I'm like looking for a flat spot in the mountains for something. And you can also switch to the underground if you're building tunnels, which we're not going to yet, at least. But that's some more road construction for us, which is going to be worked on sort of in parallel to everything else. But it looks like our sidewalks here are done. Road construction here, good progress. Don't need the bus platform yet, at least until we're needing to man all of these places. And that at least gives us some time to do research and make sure we get people education, since we have a lot of workers that are probably looking to get more education. A good amount of construction is being done at the moment, and I think I'm gonna place another flat right here. And I need to make sure it's aligned with this road, which it is not quite, actually. And I can't really like get that correct rotation. So that's fine, I guess. Let's align it closer to the road. And that will help us get more workers into the factories once it starts filling up. And maybe let's set up some sidewalks. Can't put it there. I was hoping to be able to like have a sidewalk going in between the buildings there, but that's okay. And as you can see, our population is growing pretty well, which is also very good. However, we might want to build a bigger hospital up here at some point. And maybe possibly even have another clinic right here. But we will see what the needs of the citizens are. We have more room for vehicles, or one more vehicle, but we don't really need it yet. Our researches are running. Looks like we're all good for now. If only we could somehow boost production in here. But we really can't. At least until better farming technology is available to us. But let's see how this place is performing. Looks like we might need more vehicles. But I don't think anything better has become available yet. So let's hold off on that. And as you can see, I'm being a little more careful with my construction now, so I don't get stuck in that same problem that I had at the end of the previous video. But right now the priority is going to be making sure this whole thing operates, and then I will either start looking into the construction area, or I will start setting up another farm and a clothing factory, which will likely have to be all the way here, so it doesn't interfere with the cargo warehouse, because we're going to have a rail line running through this area, basically. But we're going to have another grain silo right here as well. And that's basically as far as I think we're going to get in this episode. Just to recap on what we did, we got our domestic food and alcohol production done. We fixed our construction issues, or rather, our construction blockers. And we prepared to expand the city grid. And most importantly, we started doing research, which will let us do some very interesting things in the next episode. In the next episode, what I would like to look into is using those newly unlocked distribution offices to optimize our logistics a little bit, maybe get more vehicles going, as well as either looking into rail construction or construction in general up here, or looking into building out that clothing factory in this area. So that will be all for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.